Oh my goodness. I forgot what this was even like. Anyway, testing. It's Krafty Kristina. Okay. Hello. Welcome back to another episode of the Krafty Kristina podcast. I'm Kristina. I am crafty. I am your host. And this is a channel where I share all about my knitting and my crafting adventures. Today is Tuesday, November 5th. It is almost noon in sunny, surprisingly, Western Pennsylvania. I have not recorded a podcast in like a year, so I'm feeling a little rusty, but I have so many things to share with you today. It is actually 82 degrees here for the high in November. So listen, you know what? I will take it. It's a beautiful sunny day outside. It's election day. My polling place is very close to my home. So I took a stroll to my polling place this morning, voted, and then I walked on home. So it was a really great start to my day. But I am here. I am back. I have so many life updates and some nitty things to show you. So grab your knitting, grab your crafts. I have a hot cup of coffee here, but to take the first sip. So you grab yours, get cozy, and let's catch up and let's get into it. I honestly don't really know where to begin. I have got a list here of like notes and what I want to talk about. But I kind of just want to like ramble and go with it. I don't even know really what to say. I have not been on this channel since Vlogmas last year. All is fine. The real truth of it is it was a busy year, and I was planning a wedding reception all year, and I'm also an event planner for work, so planning events by day and also planning events by night is challenging, and it's a lot of work. I also wasn't knitting that much, and so I just didn't have anything to come on here and share. And I mean, that's essentially all you have missed. But there's something about the fall weather and the leaves falling and the holidays that really gets me in the knitting spirit. And I finally have picked up some knitting and have been consistently knitting on some things, and so I wanted to come back on and record a podcast. I'm really grateful. My company has declared Election Day a holiday every year, so I have the day off of work and I had no plans. So I went up and I thought it was actually, I expected there to be a lot of lines this morning for the work voters, but I wanted to go and kind of get my vote out of the way. So I expected there to be a long line, and there was not one. And so I got in and out in 15 minutes, and now I have the rest of my day ahead of me. So I went upstairs in my office, my craft room, and I grabbed all of the projects and all of the things that I've been working on. I plopped myself down on the couch, and so I'm ready to share where I've been and what I have been up to. But first of all, I have a Vlogmas giveaway winner to announce. I'm sorry. I'm sorry it took me so long, but I am a woman of my word, so I am back, and I want to start this off with the giveaway winner. So I've drawn a name, but I realized I don't think I ever actually shared what was going to be in my Vlogmas giveaway. So I'm going to show you what is in the giveaway, and then I'm going to announce the winner right up off the top. So a lot of you guessed. It's been a while, but a lot of you guessed one of the things in here correctly, and that was a jar of my husband's seasoning. He makes this every year. We make big batches of it. We gift it all the time. We use it regularly, and we have shown this Vlogmas after Vlogmas after Vlogmas, and so it was definitely time for us to share the wealth with one of you. So yes, you will be getting a jar of my husband's barbecue dry rub seasoning. So that's the first thing. The second thing is a fresh whole bean bag of coffee from my all-time favorite coffee shop. called the White Rabbit, and I just grabbed the house blend. So I'm going to be sending you a whole bean so you can grind yourself and enjoy some of my favorite coffee. I also am going to be sending you a jar of my favorite local pickles. These, we go to, I can't remember if I talked about this or not. I'm sure I have. We go to a local farmer's market every weekend, just about every weekend, all summer long, and try to eat as many farm fresh foods as we can. And we found this local pickle company at the farmer's market that we go to, and so we started trying their things, and out of everything that I have tried, and everything's pretty good, but their bread and butter pickles are just delicious. I'm the type of person that I like all kinds of pickles. I know some people are like a sweet type of pickle, some people like a sour pickle. If it's pickled, I want to eat it. But the bread and butter pickles are really delish. They're sweet, but they have like a little cinnamon taste in it. I don't know. It's pickles and onions. So I'm going to be sending you a jar of this. And last but not least, the 2023 Vlogmas giveaway has to include some yarn. And so I am going to be including a skein of one of my Broadway clubs. This is Little Shop of Horrors. We'll show the yarn here. This is by Trilogy Yarns in her plush base. Did I say it's called Little Shop of Horrors? This is the colorway. This base is her MCN 4-ply fingering. So it's 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon. Can machine wash it. It is so luxurious. It is probably my favorite yarn base, to be honest. And it makes like the best pair of socks. So I am going to be sending this skein to you. I chose this skein specifically because I have two of them because I lost one in my move, and then I reached out to Nancy, who's the owner of Trilogy Yarns, and asked her if there's any way she could dye me another skein of it. So she did, and then I got the other skein, and then eventually I found it. I found this skein of yarn, and so I have two, and so I have one, and now you will have one, and maybe we can knit a pair of socks together. So that is the giveaway. You're gonna get some seasoning, homemade by my sweet husband. You're going to get some of my favorite local coffee and local pickles, and of course you're gonna get my favorite sock yarn. So that is the Vlogmas giveaway, and the giveaway winner, and I will put her name down here. I'm gonna say her name, but I'll put the username down here. It's Kimberly Robison, and the username was Kimberly Robison 5981. So Kimberly, you are the winner of the Vlogmas giveaway. So as you see this, my email is in the description below. Please send me an email with your shipping address and where I should send it to. And as soon as I hear from you, I will get that sent out. So that's the Vlogmas giveaway. So there's my housekeeping. I don't even know where to begin, you guys. I'm just excited to be chitty chatty. I kind of want to talk about life and stuff, what I've been up to. We are going on our 2nd year of marriage, which is oh so exciting. And I don't really have anything else to say about that. Married life is literally the best, but better. It's like being not married, except for better. I don't know how to describe it, but every day with my husband is just the best ever and so much fun, and he is my best friend, and honestly, like, somehow knows me better than I know myself, and it is just such a beautiful thing to be loved by somebody in that way. And so I'm just so grateful for him. I'm sure you all know this, I gush about him always, but yeah, so we eloped 2 summers ago, not this summer, but the last summer. We did not want to have a wedding. What we did want to do was have a big like backyard barbecue, wedding reception, celebration, dance the night away with all our friends and family. And so we decided to plan that outside at my mother and father-in-law's house. the weekend of our 1-year wedding anniversary. So that happened, and it was so much fun, and it was so special because I don't know if we will ever have the chance to have every single one of those people, friends and family from both sides, all in one place, all at the same time ever again. And I don't know, just having like the laughs and the memories with the people there that day, like forever burned in my brain. I'm just so grateful for. So that happened. So that was like the bulk of our year was planning that. We also have still been trying to buy a house, and that has been honestly probably the most disappointing and most frustrating and makes me want to swear situations I've ever gone through. And it like has made us want to throw in the towel. The market right now, you guys, is just disgusting. I maybe that's not the right word, but I am like disgusted by it, and we are so beside ourselves, and we're almost at the point where, like, I mean, you all know better than probably most people that we have been saving and saving and dreaming of buying a house since this podcast started, since this channel started. And I don't know, I feel like we're finally at a place where like we could do it, and it's like every place that comes up on the market that we look at is either snatched because it's not a dump, or it's a dump and nobody wants it and it's sitting on the market forever, and the interest rates are high. And so because the interest rates are high, that it's making our buying power less, and it's a riskier purchase because there's so much crap wrong with it. Or it's an estate. Any place that has more than 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom is an estate. So most of the time it's being sold as is. So as a buyer, like it's honestly maddening. And then, so wonderfully, in August, there's a law passed that requires buyers to pay their buyer's agent's commissions, which was never required by law. So now, if we want to buy a house, if the seller is not agreeing to pay for our real estate agent's commissions, we now also have to come up with the money to pay them. So it's a lot more money now than we have expected to pay. And we're kind of beside ourselves by it because we feel like we can buy a house that's like completely falling apart and finance it. And like, this is like the biggest financial decision you'll ever make in your life. And I don't know. It has just been, honestly, the excitement of buying a house has left the building, okay? I'm not even excited. I have no desire to want to move except for if we buy a house, and buying a house no longer sounds appealing to me. So I, like, to be completely honest, like, we have just been so, like, through the roof frustrated with this. And it's honestly made us both feel a little like hopeless about the entire thing. And I know like we don't want to give up, but like even when we see a house that comes on the market, we're like, I don't even like, it's causing me such like anxiety to even think about it now, because I'm just so anxious about like the entire process. And I don't know. So it's been just a little frustrating. So I honestly like don't really know what we're going to do at this point. And I think the thing that has almost made it the most painful is knowing how many people in our lives know, including like my YouTube channel followers, know that this is something that we've been working towards. And so it's like anytime we see a family member or we talk to a friend or our coworkers or like an acquaintance, everybody's like, hey, how's your house hunt going? And we just like, we don't want to live in the it sucks out here land, because it's not in our nature, but it like sucks out here. I don't know what else to say. I feel like we can't make enough money to be able to buy a house to move into. And I'm kind of sitting here at a point where I'm like, well, you know, we really want to have kids and we're not getting any younger, but I almost feel like we're at the point where we could stay where we are and afford to start a family now in a place that we don't really have room for a family. And then someday maybe hopefully buy a house, or we could buy a house and scrape by and hopefully someday maybe be able to start a family. And that's like a really awful place to be living when you're 29. I celebrated my 29th birthday this year, and so I also have been having a lot of like reflections on like my 20s and how, you know, if I could sit down today and have a conversation with my 21-year-old self and tell her where I would be at 29, I don't want to say she wouldn't believe me, but I think she would be like shocked. And I don't know that she could actually like wrap her head around that. And like thinking about the times I've been in therapy, like I feel like my therapist is trying, or would be telling me to like give that 21-year-old girl a hug and meet her with compassion. But you know, the woman, the 29-year-old woman that I am today is so incredibly in love with her life and proud of the life she has built for herself and the growth that she has worked hard to grow through and heal. Like, my 20s were a time of healing. I think the amount of like healing and growth that happened between 24 and 27 is what would shock that 21-year-old self. And so I don't know, I guess it's just been a very like interesting year and time for me, and I'm having like a little bit of an oh shit moment where I'm gonna be 30 next year, and my 21-year-old self thought by 30 I would be married and have a couple of kids and a house and a stellar career and be debt free. And I'm married and I have a stellar career, but I don't have a house and I don't have kids and I'm not like debt free. And those are really big milestones and I'm still working towards them. But I think like I'm a little disappointed, I suppose. And the 21-year-old girl in me is disappointed, I suppose, that she hasn't reached those other things. So I don't know. I just been doing a lot of like reflecting, and I know this was like a big overshare, but I haven't been here in a while and I really haven't been knitting. And these are the things that have just been like weighing on my life and on my heart. And I'm trying to give myself grace. But I don't know, man. Your 20s. Your 20s are for growing up. For growing up and glowing up and healing. And I'm gonna be honest, like I'm sad that they're over. I feel like this part of my youth is gonna be ending. And what am I gonna do with my 29th year of life? I feel like my 29th year of life needs to be like, well, I shouldn't say needs to be. I feel like my 29th year of life, the world is redirecting me to where I'm supposed to go next. And that is a scary thing to feel. You know, I've always been a girl and now a woman with a plan and lofty goals and big dreams. And I feel I'm now at a place where I don't want to say like I don't know what my dreams are, but I feel like I'm like coming to the end of my rope with what I had planned for my 20s. Truly, like that's how I feel. And I'm not quite sure like where that goes next. Like homeownership is somewhere that I want to be. Motherhood is somewhere that I like desperately want to be. I just don't feel like I'm ready yet, and I'm sad to have to keep waiting because I feel like, and I know that like I have worked so hard to get to where I am. And I just feel like all roads are meeting me. Like I'm at a dead end with every road I turn. Home buying, dead end. Parenthood, dead end. Career growth, dead end. I don't know. It's just, So I'm trying to find a new way to sit with where I am. And I've never been good at that. So it's quite challenging for me in times where I'm feeling like I'm hitting a dead end, or maybe I'm just at a stop sign, or I'm at a stoplight and I'm just waiting for it to turn green so that I can start going somewhere that I want to go. I don't know. I'm kind of rambling at this point, but I don't know. That's where I've been. That's where my heart has been. And you know, I wasn't knitting a whole lot this year, and I didn't have a whole lot to show. And I did not want to come on here when I was, I don't know, dealing with some of these personal struggles, and share them as I was going through them, because that's just not in my nature. I very much like value my privacy and my family's privacy. And I honestly like struggle with how much to like be vulnerable and like put out on the internet. And I think that's a big thing for me, like with this channel, where like I want to show up and it's fun and it's creative and it's therapeutic and like it fills that like hole for me. But then it sometimes like conflicts with my desire to live like a private life, because I cherish and like I value that privacy so much. So I don't know, all is fine. All is fine. But my hiatus was because I was not knitting, and the only things I had to share were personal things I didn't really want to put on the internet. So anyway, it's been like 25 minutes and I've just been waffling about life and stuff and things. But my coffee is now cold, so I'm going to reheat this up, and then I do actually have some knitting to show you that I'm really excited about. So let me warm this up, and then we'll come back and get into the knitting. All right, we are back. And I'm going to start by telling you I do not have a single finished object. Maybe one, actually. It's a dishcloth, and I don't know if I've shown this before. It's this. But I have four works in progress I'm going to show you. And I actually have an acquisition and an update about my yarn habits, and then I have some random things to share that I've actually been loving this year that are super fun and I want to talk about. So I'm gonna start with I guess I'll start with the dishcloths, because I love dishcloth knitting, and they're quick projects I can do like very easily, and awesome gift knits, and I have a ton of cotton yarn. And last year, when did I even buy this? I don't know, Knit Picks has like an annual big yarn sale or something. And I honestly, I mean, you all know I was not buying yarn because I'm saving for a house, and that's still like pretty much true. But God, why am I losing my train of thought? Knit Picks has like an annual big like yarn sale or something. I think it's maybe around Thanksgiving. I don't know. But I really wanted to buy some yarn from there, and I ended up buying like a dishy set. They're cotton yarn to make dishcloths, and it was like a Christmas-ish themed like pastel set. And so I really want to knit with it. I'm going to try and hold up most of it. I don't have the colors of most of these because the tags are off. I really want to show them all at one time, but it's going to be impossible. Anyway, so there's this like really nice looking tan and this pastel blue. And then there's this pink that I don't really know what you would call this. I don't know that it's like variegated, but it fades from white to light pink to darker pink. Really cute, like kind of candy cane-esque-ish. And then there's like this is more of like a, this is showing up a little more blue than it actually is, but it's more of like a royal green kind of. And then I have this heather gray. And this mint green. I have cast on something with this. Anyway, so I bought this, and I honestly, over the weekend, it's Tuesday, like Saturday, got the urge to really knit some dishcloths and have like, I don't know, some small projects and like really work through this. So I want to use these, so I started there. And I did want to show you. I did knit like a grandmother's favorite dishcloth, or I think I used grandmother's second favorite dishcloth. Forgive me if talking about my knitting is like not that great today. I'm forgetting something because it's really been a while since I've done this, but this is in that tan color. As you can see, I finished and didn't even weave in the end. So I knit that, I don't even know when I knit this, last year, earlier this year, I don't know. It's finished though, so kind of a finished object. Anyway, so I have that, but I've been really wanting to work still through my dishcloth stash, and I wanted to start by knitting a set with these Christmas colors. I am trying to get into the holiday spirit early this year just because I can. And anyway, so I've been thinking about like going to our storage unit and putting up the Christmas tree early this year. And I actually found at Aldi, they have like their specialty aisle. There was like a Christmas bed sheet set. And so I bought one because I've always wanted to have Christmas bed sheets. And so now my next move is knitting Christmas dishcloths. Let me tell you about this yarn, by the way. This is Dishy. It's worsted weight by Knit Picks. It's 100 grams, 190 yards. It's 100% cotton, and you can machine wash it. I'll show you the tag here just so you can see what it looks like. But I have started knitting dishcloths, and I want to show you this because I wanted a pattern dishcloth. So I have started to knit this, and I am just making up this pattern. I decided I wanted to have like a pattern dishcloth, but I wasn't really finding any like dishcloth patterns like on Ravelry or like Etsy or Pinterest. Like sometimes I'll look there. I wasn't really finding like a pattern I really liked. So I decided to start diving into some stitch patterns and trying some new things to see if there's anything I just really like the look of. And now I'm just, I don't know. So I'm just knitting my own dishcloth pattern right now. So this is in the mint color, but look how pretty that texture is. So I have started this, and I think I'm just gonna experiment and keep knitting, keep knitting, I don't know, whatever my heart desires in terms of like patterns. I'm just gonna wing it to really make the colors of this dish set like yarn shine. So that's the first thing I've been working on. One thing I've actually really been working on is my Cozy Comfort Throw. This pattern I started last December. Some of you may remember this. I've been wanting to knit this pattern for a while, really mindless, and one of my ladies-in-law, I learned that too, but I don't like it. So one of my lady-in-laws I taught to knit, and I made her a scrappy advent calendar last year, and we decided to cast this on during the advent season together. She just needs me to teach her how to do the I-cord edging, and she's gonna be done. And it looks beautiful, by the way. So I'll see if I can share a photo at some point of what hers actually looks like. But I have been trying to pick back up on mine. This, I am using my Shirley Bryan Yarns 2022 Advent Calendar. I'll show you where I'm at on this. It's looking pretty good. I am almost completely out of my yarn. What I did for this was I use the 20 gram minis, and this is how much I have left on my ball, and then I'm gonna have to wind up like the next, I already pulled out the next like 4 or 5 skeins. But what I decided to do was, I'm pairing this, by the way, this is fingering weight yarn. I'm pairing this with Knit Picks, I don't know, some kind of a bare fingering weight yarn. There you go. So that it's fingering weight held double. So mindless, so easy. This is my work knitting project, my secret meaning knitting project. Because it's something I can do without looking, and it's getting me further to a goal, but it's not something I want to work on all the time. So what I have done is I have been winding up. I just finished my first cake, as I mentioned. You saw how tiny that ball was, but I have been winding up, I don't know, 5 or 6 20 gram minis at a time, doing the magic knot, and then using like, oh my god, what is it called? It's like liquid stitch or something on my magic knots to really hold them together. I wait for it to dry, and then I wind it up into a cake, and then I have just been knitting that way, so I don't have to keep just adding in a mini as I go. I like set my future self up for success. But here's what this looks like so far. It's a garter stitch, so you can see like pretty well. And yeah, I've just been enjoying it, been knitting it secretly during my meetings, if I have any like breaks. This is like a Monday through Friday knitting project, and I'm just going to continue doing it, I think. Something I discovered last year when I was trying to work through like my 2023 make, finish, or frog knitting goals was that when I'm really trying to accomplish some things and finish projects, it's really helpful for me in my lifestyle to identify projects for different things. Like I have a work knitting project, and I only knit it during meetings, and I only knit it during work. So it's always getting worked on. It's just only at a certain time. And that's this. I also like to have TV knitting projects. So if I'm like watching TV or a movie or something like that, then I will have a project. Sometimes I have a couple of projects. It really just depends on how I'm feeling, and I focus on knitting those only during that time. So only if I'm watching Netflix or a movie or hang out with my husband on the couch do I knit on that project. If I have multiple of those, I will, a lot of the time, this is good for like binge watching Netflix or multiple movies in a day, is I knit on a project for an episode, and then when I start a new episode, I put that aside and I pick up my next project so that it's always getting work. So I noticed that really worked well for me. And since I've been on a knitting hiatus, I'm feeling a little overwhelmed with all of my whips right now. So I've decided that I'm going to knit some things I really like. I'm going to work on old projects, and I'm just going to assign times for them so that they are getting work, but it's not my focus all the time, and it's not, I don't want to say sucking the fun out of the projects, but sometimes, and I don't know if you're like this, but I'm definitely like this, is I just get overwhelmed. I'm like, oh, I have to finish that. Oh, I have to work on it. Oh, I should, blah, blah, blah. Stop shooting yourselves on your projects, okay? This is going to be the rest of my 2024 mantra, and probably 2025, and pick this up too if you need it. We all need this kind of advice. Don't should yourself on a project, okay? If you should knit it, you shouldn't be doing it. If you want to knit it, you should. Shoulds all around. Anyway, a little bit of a tangent there. But this is my work only project because it's garter stitch and mindless. So I'm going to have to wind up some more for this very soon. Maybe I'll do it today. Probably not. Anyway, cozy comfort throw. Been working on that a lot. Let me look at my list here because I actually ended up going out of order. Cozy comfort throw, dishcloths. Oh, you'll be excited to see this. This is the project I've worked on the most this year. Oops. What do I have going on in here? What's this? Oh, I was testing a stitch pattern on this. Okay. Irrelevant. I have mostly been working on. Ooh, I'm so excited to show you this. I've mostly been working on my Desperate Housewife cardigan. Is my notebook in here? Oops. Oh my gosh, hold on. I'm a mess. Okay. So this project I started, not this summer, last summer. And it's still on the needles. And it's probably going to be on the needles until next summer at this point. I don't want it to be. I really wanted to finish it this fall so I could wear it. But we're in November and it's still 80 degrees here somehow in Western Pennsylvania. And also it's taking me forever to finish. This project I'm knitting from All Stash Yarn. By the way, this project is, oh, I can't remember the pattern designer, Melanie Berg. I have knit pattern of hers before and really liked it. And when I saw this released, I decided I wanted to knit it. I love stripes. I love a good cardigan. And I had a lot of single skeins of yarn I thought I could make work with this pattern. And so let me just show you this instead of just talking about it. Here's where I'm at, you guys. Look how good it looks. Look how good it looks. I've split for the sleeves. I have been working on this so much. It's been my main project. I don't even know. Hold on. I thought I had a stitch marker on here at one point that like marked my last podcast. The last time I podcasted and showed this stitch marker is where I was. So I hadn't even split for the sleeves yet. So I have since split for the sleeves and I have, I think, one more full repeat of these 5 stripes to get to the ribbing on the bottom. So this honestly is such a labor of love. I like want you to look how like beautiful these colors are together. This has been such a labor of love. It is in fingering weight yarn, you guys. Fingering weight yarn. I actually made a chart for myself and timed myself. I started doing like committing to finishing this fall. September 8th I made a list. I timed myself to see how long it would take me to knit a row. It's 15 minutes. Okay. Oddly enough, it's a little less than 15 minutes. It's like one row took me like 13 minutes and the other one took me like 14 minutes. And oddly enough, the purl row somehow for me was faster than the knit row. Tell me how that makes sense. I don't know. But I just rounded up, so it takes me about 15 minutes per row. And I did the math for how many inches versus how many stripes I would need to get to complete the length of the body. And then, anyway, I did a lot of math. I can't remember how to explain now. But I have been, every time I sit down to knit on it, I tally how many rows I did, how many rows are left, and how many minutes I have left to knit. So right now I have 18 and a half hours left to knit on the body before I get to the ribbing. And once I finish that, I have to knit pockets and 2 sleeves, and I have to pick up and knit the ribbing on like the inside and do the button band. So needless to say, I think the sleeves will go way faster, but I'm trying to finish this body ASAP. I think once I finish the body, I'm going to have so much more zest for life in knitting the project. But I've been working on it, and it's the one that I'm like the most, I don't want to say the most dedicated to, but this is like my most serious project. I have never knit a cardigan before. I actually have started a couple of sweaters in my life, and I get close to finishing them, or I get halfway through them and I give up and I never finish them. So I'm determined to finish them. I'm determined to finish this. And I don't know, but I'm so loving it. I love the colors. I just want to like, also I love this like neckline on this bodysuit. I feel like I have a lot of different things in my wardrobe now that I can really just throw this bad boy over when it's done. It'll match. I can lounge at home. I could wear it to work if I wanted to. I could wear it to visit my friends. It could be a travel. Like, I just feel like this is gonna be an all-purpose, super pretty cardigan for me. And I have some zest for life now, and I'm working on it. So, and the other thing is, I have found that when I take hiatuses or like I'm off YouTube for a while and then I come back, I feel a little more like oomph or there's a little more wind under my sails. I don't know. I just have a little more drive to start finishing them because I'm excited to show you. So what I'm actually going to do after I podcast today is I am going to put a stitch marker on all of my projects where I currently stand. So the next time I show you, we can see how far I have gotten in between episodes. Anyway, Desperate Housewife cardigan. And the final thing that I'm working on right now, which bag is it in? Oh, I brought this bag down here to show you truly how much I wasn't knitting. I don't know if anybody remembers this Broadway sock from last Christmas. Remember I didn't get an Advent sock set? I'm having a little like FOMO right now of not buying an Advent calendar or like a Christmas striped, like an Advent sock skein, to the point where like I'm feeling like looking to see if there's any last minute dyers that are like selling extras on like sock sets and like boxes and stuff, because I'm feeling really left out. I really want an Advent calendar this year, and I just didn't buy one yet. Anyway, I didn't pre-order one, I suppose. Anyhow, these I think are the morning coffee socks by the Crazy Sock Lady, and I thought they'd look really pretty in this yarn, and I have not finished these. This is where I was last year. Oh my god. I've been looking for another 9-inch circular, and apparently it's been inside this skein. Hiding. Easily disguised. Anyway. I'm a little sidetracked, but this is proof to tell you that I really have not knit in like a year. Even my husband asked me, he's like, you still like knitting? I'm like, yes, I still like knitting. I'm just busy. He's like, I noticed you haven't been knitting. So he's sweet. Anyway. But the other thing that I have been working on, and again, this is a project, I don't even know what the heck. Did I cast this one on? No. I don't know when I started these. In the spring? I don't know. I don't know when I started these, but I need to pick back up. I knit my husband his first pair of socks for Christmas last year, and he loved them. And I really would like to knit him some more socks. I'm at a point where I don't want to knit socks for other people anymore. At least right now. And maybe that's just because I haven't been knitting a whole lot. I just haven't felt like really knitting for other people all that much. So dishcloths, I think, are going to be it for me in terms of like knitted gifts this year. But I do want to finish this pair of socks I started for my husband. Actually, I let him go through my yarn stash. And this is a Broadway yarn, and I let him go through my stash, and I let him pick out the colorway, and this is the colorway he picked. So I started both socks. One is on the heel, and one is ready for the heel. They're just vanilla socks. The colorway is Back to the Future. I'll show you here. I think for this, I cast on for him 68 stitches. If I'm remembering correctly. Gosh, I have to look back at my notes because I don't remember how I knit his socks. He has a wider foot. So I think he needs smaller at the top but wider at the bottom. I don't remember. I think I'm doing 68 stitches for the whole sock. And so I do knit 2, purl 2 ribbing, about 25 or 30 rounds for him. He likes a little bit of a taller cuff. 50 rounds for the leg. And I'm just doing a slip stitch heel flap for him. So I have both of those on. I actually shout out to Kathy at my local yarn store who shares the same birthday as me. I had made an oopsie, and I royally screwed up the heel of this sock and could not figure out how to tink or frog back to fix it. And so I went into my local yarn store for a knit night, and she was there, and I was like, can please anybody help me figure it out? And so she frogged back for me, and she helped me get back to the leg, and she's like, you have the right number of stitches, but it's on you to figure out how to start your heel. So shout out to her, because if it weren't for her, this would be a lost cause sock. I would have to start all over again. Anyway, so thanks, Kathy. My Virgo sister. And anyway, these are just socks for my husband. So I would like to finish these for him for Christmas this year. I think he has forgotten I was knitting these for him. But yeah, I would like to finish these for Christmas for him. So these I will need to pick back up, and once I get through the heel on this, really, it'll be so fast for me to finish because he's got a long foot. He's got like a size 12 foot. So I'll be knitting his feet, the foot of his sock, forever. But it'll be just vanilla knitting, so I'll be able to bring this along in the car. I'll be able to take a break and work on it at work. I think I'll fly through it once they're finished. So those are socks for my husband. I'm trying to think what else. Oh, I forgot to put this back in here. That's about it. That's about it for like my actual knitting. Oh no, wait a minute. My actual knitting projects, but I have an acquisition to share. I made a big yarn purchase recently, which was something I haven't done in a very long time. And I don't know. I kind of mentioned at the beginning that I was really in a funk. I'm kind of in a little bit of like a mental funk. I don't want to say that I'm depressed, but I'm trying to remind myself in like my day-to-day, like the things that really bring me joy and that make my heart full and like bring me peace. And I felt like, and I said to you, my husband even noticed that I wasn't knitting, and I decided that, well, first of all, my localist yarn store is Rags Fiber Arts, and Tony, the owner, and my dear friend who I love so much, she hosts the Rags Fiber Affair twice a year. So she has a fall show and she has a spring show. And the last several years, the fall show has been the same day as one of my largest fall fundraisers for my non-knitting job. And so I haven't been able to go. Well, this year, our fundraiser was not on the same day. So I finally was like, you know what? I'm gonna go to the fiber fair, and I'm gonna say hi to the gals that I know. I'm gonna see some dyers, maybe make some new friends. I don't know. I just need to get out of the house. I need to look cute and I need to go. And so I decided that I would buy some yarn if I found something that I really liked, and I bought a sweater quantity of yarn from a dyer called Little Loopy. She is from Central Pennsylvania. Her name is Kayla. She was so wonderful to talk to. I will link her down below. Go give her a follow. She was so sweet and so kind, and I felt like we were like instantaneous friends when I met her. And I wanted to share with you that I canceled my monthly Broadway yarn club. And I did so over the summer because for a very brief moment, my husband changed jobs. And when he started the new job, he very quickly realized that it was not at all what they told him it was going to be. And I don't want to share too much about that situation because it was very difficult, and it was less than a month away from our wedding reception, and we were at a point where we were basically hoping that his old company would give him his job back. Or else we were going to be a single income household and we did not know what we were going to do. And so it was a very scary and shocking and overwhelming and surprising time. And thankfully his old company took him back, and he's back at his old job, and things resolved pretty quickly. But in that moment, we were really like canceling subscriptions and anything that we possibly could have to save money, because we did not know like what was going to happen next for us. So I had canceled my Broadway Yarn Club, and I haven't received it since summertime, basically. And I haven't been getting any more Broadway skeins. I did not resubscribe. Anyway, so I haven't been buying any yarn at all. And so I went to this festival and I was like, you know what, if I see something that I really like, whatever, like maybe I'll get myself a sock set, like, I don't know, something like that. And I was looking at the little loopy, she had like some sock sets sitting there, and I was like, you know what, these are really pretty, like let me look at them, like maybe I'll just get a sock set, spend like $30 and it'll be fine. And I started looking at the sock sets, and the names of the colorways were after Broadway musicals. And I was like, is this a Broadway yarn? And I looked at it and I was like, oh. And then I looked at another skein and it was also a Broadway yarn. And then I looked at another skein and it was also a Broadway yarn. And I was like, are these all Broadway? And just as soon as I was about to ask, Kayla, the dyer, comes over to me and she goes, do you like Broadway? And we got to talking, and she also was a theater loving girl. She used to be a music teacher. And anyway, so we chatted for like a half hour, and I got to talking to her about my podcast and how I was on a hiatus and how my knitting mojo was gone, and she had had a rough year and I had kind of had a rough year. And anyway, so we talked about our love of making and how it really just helps us. And for her, like, she's working on a grief blanket right now, like a temperature blanket, but grief, because she recently went through a divorce. And it's been really like helping her cope. And you all know my love for temperature blankets, and I'm currently, not really, but I have one aside for my first year of marriage. And I don't know, it was just a very like sweet, very fun, like coincidence. And it just, I don't know, it was an interaction that I really needed on that day. Anyway, so we got to talking, and I was looking at her other colorways. And so long story short, I found a couple that caught my eye, and I was like, you know what? I want to knit a sweater. And I want to knit a sweater. Like, I so often, and especially like in my stash down journey, I'm like, I see patterns I like, and I have yarn that I like. And I'm sure so many of you probably experience this too, where you're like, well, I have to use what's in my stash. And you look at your stash, and what you have in your stash really limits what you can knit. And so I decided, I'm like, you know what? I have no plan at all, but I've been really wanting to knit a sweater for myself, and like one that I actually love. And one of my favorite knitting experiences in the last couple of years, and like the project that I think like I had the most fun with and that brought me the most joy, was when I knit the Nyx shawl by Melanie Berg. And it happened because I found the shawl pattern and I was like, I love this, I want to knit it. And then I actively sought out the yarn to knit the project with, and I loved how it turned out. And when I wear it, I get so many compliments on it, and it's, I don't know, it's a good like conversation piece, but it's so wearable in my wardrobe. It's a great transition piece. Like, I love it so much. One of my favorite things I've ever knit. And so I decided at the Rags Fall Fiber Affair this year that I was going to buy a sweater quantity of yarn. And so I found a couple colors that I really liked. And I know I'm talking about this a lot, but I've decided with Kayla, and it was a really fun experience because I picked out a couple of colors I really, really liked. And then I decided a sweater, and then I was really struggling to figure out the color combination. And so as people were coming in, I was getting opinions from like other dyers and other people at the fair, and we were all pulling skeins out of her thing, and we were mixing them around to like help come up with the color palette. We were looking at it in different like different orders and different sides. Like, we had it up and down, we had it left to right, we were looking at it from like across the room. So it was a whole lot of fun. But I decided, without further ado, I decided that I wanted to knit the Gracious sweater. Wait a minute, is it Gracious? Oh no, now I can't remember. I think it's the Gracious sweater by Espostrico. I'm pretty sure it's the Gracious sweater. If I'm wrong, I'll put the actual title down here. But the Gracious sweater is something that, it's a free pattern, and I have had this sweater saved in my Ravelry queue for like, probably 5 years. I've had it saved. I look at it. I love everything about it. It's stripes, it's color blocks, it's light and drapey, and also like, I just feel like I could throw it on over anything. I don't know. I just love everything about the way that it looks and the color opportunities, and I have really been wanting to knit it for a long time. And it is fingering weight, but I decided that I was going to get yarn for it. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to start showing you the colors that I selected for this, and I have to remember the order that I put them in. And a fun fact about, I think this is the order. A fun fact about Kayla too is that she creates colorways and then she actually names them based on her Instagram followers' name submission. So she'll put like something, I think she does it, she puts it on her story and then she asks people to submit their names and then she reads through them all and she picks the one that she likes the best. Oddly enough, she was telling me about this at the fiber affair and I was like, wow, I really love that. And like, what a fun way to like engage your community. And then I followed her, and then a couple weeks ago she posted a colorway, and for some reason mine was the name that she picked. So I just thought it was so exciting. It was exciting for me, but anyway, so she was so sweet. Go check out her stuff. But I'm waffling, but I don't know. I guess I really needed this experience to like fuel my knitting mojo and my excitement for the craft and like light a spark back in me again. And so here are the colors that I picked from top to bottom. And I will start with the top. So this is called Ponderosa. It's fingering weight. I'll tell you about her base. This is fingering weight. It's 75-25 superwash merino and nylon. 437 yards for 100 grams. And it says you can machine wash it and dry on low. So this is Ponderosa. I'll give you a little bit more of a close-up here. It's like a really like beautiful, like tonal, like deep green kind of. And you can almost see like there's a little bit of like purple hue in there. And then the color it will go next to is called White Birch, same base. And then this one is called Terra, which this is actually showing up a little bit more orange than it actually is. It's a little bit more like coral, but there is that. And then this is the one that I picked initially that I really wanted to use. And this one is called Meadow of Sage. And again, it's almost like a later version of that first deep green, as you can tell here. So they would go really like pretty together. But I liked the deepness of this. So hang on, I'm pretty sure this is the order. Yeah. So anyway, when we were looking at it, we looked at it side by side. We looked at it from top to bottom. We looked at it from this way. So anyway, here will be my gracious sweater. I don't know when I'm going to cast it on. I'm just going to kind of let my heart guide me with my knitting these days. But so excited for this purchase, and I think I should have a little bit left over of all of these. I actually ended up having, I had to buy 2 skeins of each to have the right amount of yardage for the sweater, but a good problem to have because I love the colors and I can always use them for something else later on. I do want to share with you some things I've really been loving and that have bringing me joy. So I mentioned earlier that in the summertime we like to attend a farmer's market that is local to us. There are so many vendors and farmers and local crafters and so many just local people coming together and sharing like things, goods that they have either grown or created. A lot of farm to table type stuff, which has really truly become right up our alley these days. My gallbladder saving journey is still ongoing, but it's something that made me really look at the choices I was making in my life in terms of like the products that I'm using and the foods that I'm eating. And I really transitioned in the last year to living like a very holistic lifestyle, and have this like deep belief that food is medicine, and really like I've experienced it, but like it can heal you. And so I'm just continuing on this journey of loving like growing my own food even more than I have before, but supporting people and local farmers and things to also help supplement the things that I can't grow. And I don't know, I've just been really feeling moved to shop locally more and support the local farmers and that type of thing. And so the farmers market has been a huge part in our journey for that. But we were realizing this summer, as the summer came to an end, like how sad it was going to be to go back to just eating grocery store produce because it's never as delicious or as flavorful as the things that we grow in our garden or that we purchase from the farmers that we love so much. And the farmer that we buy from the most frequently, one of the last days of the farmers market this year had a sign that said like ask about how to get on like our fall and spring, basically like farm share list. And so we decided to join this like pre-order farm share, and it has honestly been like the highlight of my fall. Every Monday this farmer emails us, and he has like an online order form of all the things that he has available this week in terms of like fall crops. He's got local meat. He partners with like some Amish people near him to have like fresh milled flour and maple and apple butter and different types of products. And the best part of it though is he like, you can just tell in these emails like how much joy he gets from like the hard work of his farm. And he gives updates on what things are happening on the farm that week, how the animals are, what's going on with the weather, how has this farm year like shaped up to previous years, like how the crops are doing, like what they're doing, just how the farm is running. And I don't know, I look forward to these emails every single Monday morning when he sends them out to see what's happening. And I don't know, it's just so much to appreciate in the farming industry, I think, in a way that I've never really thought about it before. And just knowing these people and seeing people who were customers of his all summer long now in these like unique pickup order situations, like it's just a really like wonderful way, I think, to support your community and meet people who are like-minded and also care about like giving back to their community and just supporting people locally. And I don't know, I just really stand by that. I think it's so important, and I 10 out of 10 highly recommend you joining a farm share or like a CSA program or something if you have one near you. Truly get to know your local farmers and people who are, you know, providing the food to us and supporting our local community. I just highly recommend it. The relationships you're going to start to build and the people that you're going to start to meet that are also like into those things and as caring as you are, it's just really like, it's just such a great experience. And it's just something I've really been loving and enjoying. And it's also allowed me to like branch out and try new things and eat seasonally, which is so important. So I could gush about it forever, but it's just something that has really brought me joy. And, you know, every weekend or every couple weekends, like going out to pick up our, you know, our farm order is just really nice. And we're starting to build a relationship with him and his family. And I don't know, it's just nice to like know the people around you, I suppose. I don't know. Anyway, so that's something I have been loving. Another thing on the same kind of like food or farming is that we had a wild gardening year this year. Last year we were prolific in tomatoes. This year I was prolific in peppers. I had so many peppers and still have so many peppers. Excuse me. I have so many hot peppers. I do not know what to do with them all. I have learned to can this summer. I think I've talked about how that was something I really wanted to learn how to do. And so I bought a couple of like ball canning cookbooks from Barnes & Noble early in the summer, and had been really just looking through them and the recipes that you create, and whether we were buying things like locally from our farmers while they were in season, or being able to like grow them in our own garden to be able to like preserve those or make new recipes has just been something that has been so much fun for me. I learned how to water bath can this year. The lighting is changing because the sun is coming in again. There was a cloud for a while. Anyway, so I probably grew 20 pounds at least of jalapeno peppers alone. And so I made cowboy candy. I made so many pints and quarter pints and half pints of spicy candied jalapenos that are now sitting on my shelf. I've been giving them away to everybody I know who likes spicy. They've been so delicious. I made salsa this year, a really delicious salsa recipe, and I'm sad because we have eaten it so quickly. I only have a couple of jars left, and I wish it would last forever, but I'm just gonna have to figure out how to grow more stuff next year so I can make more next year that'll last us all winter long. I also right now am learning how to ferment hot sauce. I should bring it in here and show you. I really want to show you what I've done. Hold on. It's gonna be a little awkward, but I want to show you this hot sauce I'm fermenting, because I honestly will tell you, it is probably one of the most challenging things I've ever had to learn how to do, and I am so excited about it, but nervous. Okay, so I also had an abundance of mango habanero peppers and cayenne peppers. And I got to the end of the season and I picked them all and I had no idea what to do with them. And so I looked in my canning cookbook and it was like, try to ferment hot sauce. And so we're big spicy lovers. We love hot sauce. And so I thought, I'm going to try it. I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I'm going to wing it. I am on my, let me think about this. I've just entered my second week of fermentation. So these are supposed to be fermenting for 3 weeks. And I started them not this Sunday, but last Sunday. So we're working through the second week here. So it's been 9 days maybe. I'm going to start by showing them. And then this one has something going on in it. And I don't know what the heck it is. And I don't know how to save it. And I'm nervous. But I have made 3 kinds. So one of them is, and I made like a variation. So the recipe I used called for habaneros and red bell peppers. And it gave like a couple examples of variations so you can make like different styles of hot sauces. But I used the peppers that I had. So this one is cayenne pepper and red bell pepper. So that's what this looks like. And you can kind of see, like, I wonder if I like give it a little shake, if you can see. It's like bubbling. And I just have to check on it every day. This thing that's like on the top is a burper that my mother-in-law gave me that's supposed to like let out the trapped gas. After I started using them, I read online that these can be risky because it's letting in oxygen. And there's something that's called like calm yeast or something that can grow on top. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but you got to skim it off. And I haven't seen any of that recently, but it looks like for some reason there's some on there. I don't know if you can see on the top, like now there's like that white stuff. I think that's normal. Anyway, this one is a variation of a jalapeno sauce I made earlier in the summer. And it's green jalapenos, yellow bell pepper, onion, and garlic. And that's what this one looks like. This one I think is doing the best, to be honest with you. So it's been interesting to really watch this because when I started them, there was way less headspace up at the top. Like they were completely full. And now it's like something's happening in the fermentation process, but like it smells so good. It just smells so good. And then my final one is mango habanero pepper and orange bell pepper, because I really wanted the colors to shine, but you can kind of see there's like some white stuff in there, and I don't know if that's mold or if it's calm yeast or what. It did not look like this yesterday morning. Yesterday morning, I took the lid off and I inspected it and I stirred it around and there was no anything. So I'm a little nervous. It was looking beautiful yesterday and now it's looking like this. So I don't know. I hope it's just calm yeast. I might have to like go on Reddit or something. Anyway, with that being said, I have been loving learning that. So we'll see how my hot sauce goes. So I've been working on that. And the other thing that I have been doing recently is reading. When I was growing up, was an avid reader. Like I would fly through novels in like 2 days. My friends and I, we'd all get books and we'd read one and then we'd finish it and we'd give it to the next person. So if I had free time during class, especially in like middle school and high school, if I had like free time during class, I'd be reading. When I'd come home from school, I'd finish my homework and I'd read until dinner and I'd eat dinner. And if I didn't have any after school activities, I'd read until I go to bed. And so I loved reading, but when I went to college, I majored in musical theater. And so on top of my regular course curriculum reading, I often had to read entire plays in 2 days. And then I'd be performing, so I'd have to read more plays and memorize scenes. And so I had to do so much forced reading. It really took the joy out of it for me. But recently, I have really started loving reading again. So I've been buying a lot of different types of books. I've been buying some books about like holistic nutrition and reading those. I talked about my Candid cookbook, so like a lot of cookbooks I've been reading, but the things I think that I've been loving the most is there's an author that I really love called Riley Sager. I think he's pretty popular these days, so you may have already heard of him. When I was trying to get back into reading right after I graduated from college, I got one of his books for a very brief time. I was subscribed to Book of the Month, and I think it was like my first or second month. They sent me his book, The Last Time I Lied. This was probably, 7 years ago now. I was like 22. That sounds about right. And I read that book, and honestly, The Last Time I Lied, I think, is my favorite book I've ever read. His writing style, I mean, I just like can't gush about how much I love this author enough. And I finished that book in like 2 days, and I loved it so much so that I went out to Barnes & Noble the next day and I bought every other book that he had published. And it's taken me a while, but I have like slowly been working through his books. So I read The Last Time I Lied first, then I read Final Girls. And then this past summer I finished, what is it called? I don't know why I can't remember the name of it. I'll have to put the title down here. Anyway, I finished one of those over the summer and I started another one, Home Before Dark. Now, it's really gonna kill me that I can't remember what it's called. Okay, I knew this was gonna drive me crazy. I read them a little out of order. I started with The Last Time I Lied. That's his second book. The first book is Final Girls. I read that one next. Then over the summer, I finished Lock Every Door. And now I'm reading Home Before Dark. I got the hardcover, I think, because that's what they only had at the time. And I don't like the paper thing on the front, so I always take that off. But Home Before Dark, that's what I'm reading now. I don't know, and I just really love it. Story, always so well written. Lots of different characters and things to analyze and dissect, and there's always a twist ending that you never see coming, and it makes like reading them so much fun. Anyway, reading. It's the other thing I've been loving. I've been loving my farm share, been loving gardening and learning how to can and ferment, and I have been loving reading. So, I don't know. That's about it. This is a very long welcome back episode to me. For you. You got a giveaway in there. You got a really big life update. You got a whole lot of personal vulnerability and honesty, and I don't know, some updates on what I have been knitting. So hopefully you found a new dyer to look into. Hopefully you felt a little bit of inspiration to shop local and support some local businesses or a local farmer like me. And that's about it. So thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.